I met Randy Landreneau at CPAC in Dallas, and I wanted to bring him into the economic war room for several reasons. One, he's working on IP issues, especially related to China and big tech. He's a real expert, and we want to add him to our team. You can learn more about him at usinventor.org. Randy is an inventor with 3 patents, a former president and current board member of the Tampa Bay Investors Council, and the president of US Inventors. Randy, welcome to the Economic War Room.
Thank you for having me. You know, I think your audience is going to find what I'm going to talk about extremely interesting, because what I'm going to talk about has been the tip of the spear when it comes to American economic success, American security, American independence, American exceptionalism for sure, and actually the American dream. And what it really boils down to is a very revolutionary decision that our founders made at the very beginning of America, which was that unlike the rest of the world, that were run by aristocracies, where the common person was of not great value to the rulers, our founders said, you know what, we're going to do something totally different. We're going to say that in America, if you invent something that's never been done before, you can own it. And that changed the course of mankind, because suddenly the common person you basically unleashed the creativity of the common individual and gave him and her an incentive to do something valuable because they could own it and they could build something big from it. And it was a path toward great success through innovative merit, right? In other words, this is a totally merit-based concept, which, yep, go ahead.
Oh, I love that. No, I love the history, the reality that America is different than any other nation on the planet, always has been, and that is one of the key components. And, you know, we just don't think about that. We don't think about how the intellectual property protections that we established here, and they were adopted in other places, but they paved the way for the American centuries that we've enjoyed.
Yeah, you know, in other places, it's funny because I wish I could find the actual quotes, because I've somehow over the years lost them. There were aristocrats in England that were scoffing at what America was doing with respect to intellectual property. Oh, these Americans, what do they think they're up to? It's this crazy group of people over there. And you know what? A couple years later, the very same person said, I was wrong, because suddenly America jumped to the lead in worldwide innovation. And we just take it for granted. You know, we sit here and we have so much, and many of us don't realize what caused it, because things are caused. And this was a beautiful decision by our founders that caused all this innovation that created all this greatness for this country, as well as security.
No doubt, no doubt. You know, I think about, by contrast, the British science societies that would gather together, and they became groupthink. So they all thought the same way. I see, unfortunately, some of that happening in our medical community today, where anyone wanting to step outside of the orthodoxy is shouted down. But you're right. In America, it was the rural guy. It was the bike repairman. It was, you know, the people that invented the great inventions weren't the noted science scholars of the day.
Yeah, the elite, you know, the elite aren't the guys. The elite and the rich are not the ones that typically are the inventor coming up with something great. I mean, look, even the guys that began what we call big tech now, they weren't elite. They were kids in garages, right? Right. Thinking outside of the box. And of course, those companies went awry once they became huge, which of course always is the case, and why we need more competition. But I tell you something else that's interesting. You think about 200 years ago, women didn't have a lot of rights in America. But in the Patent Act of 1790, under George Washington, inventors were described as he, she, or they, meaning that women had all the rights of men when it came to invention and copyright. And because, you know, so our founders just realized how important innovation was going to be to this country, and they were so right.